sin had left a crimson stain. Thank God He washed in white as snow. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. I'm glad He paid it all. I'm glad He left me white as snow. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. You may be seated.
Amen. Aren't you thankful for the blood of the Lamb? Amen. You feel His presence here today? Amen. This time, if our usher would come forward, continue worshiping with our main titles.
I want that kind of blessing that saves and keeps and satisfies my soul. I want that whole salvation here below of heaven only. Oh, I want that kind of blessing that saves and keeps and satisfies my soul. I want that whole salvation till God of heaven only.
Brother Dave, would you pray over the altar?
What a privilege, Lord, it is, Lord God, to you got us here today. Thank you. Lift up the high praises of our worthy King. Thank you, Lord, for so richly blessing us, Father, in ways such as we may, Father, give to you, Lord, in honor of who you are. Thank you, Lord, for blessing the remainder of the service, these gifts, and the leading of their usage, Father. We praise you and bless you.
Amen.
Oh Amen. I tell you, it's been easy to worship this morning, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Praise the Lord. Feel God's presence in this place today. It's a good place to touch Him and be blessed by Him and not leave like we came.
Amen.
Amen. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Sister Karen. We are honored today to have with us some very special guests. Sister Kathy Methena is here today, and she brought this other guy. Bishop Preston Methena is our conference bishop, superintendent, known Brother Preston for many, many years, and just been a blessing for a long time to this conference. He's pastored, he's been World Missions Director, now he's conference superintendent. He's a pastor of pastors. So I met this last night at our board meeting. He has over 160 churches to oversee. So I don't feel so bad at all. That's all I want. But it is a delight to have him here today. We've been talking about him coming, and we're glad that he's come, and he and Kathy. And let's make him welcome us.
What a joy to be with you. Don't you have a wonderful pastor and your wife? Wow. I tell you, he's been a great gift to this church for 34 years, him and Janice. What a team you've had in place. And the hand of God, the kabod, the right hand of blessing has been upon you. And it's a joy to be with you today and to have the opportunity to share with you. A couple of things I want to mention. First of all, last night we began the process of putting in place what will happen through the transition of pastor. Now, having said that, we're going to be patient with that. And some of you, if you want to go another 34 years, we can. If we could get that to work out, I don't know. But God has given you a wonderful gift. And you have honored them and loved them, and they know that. And it's great when it's that way among the church. But transitioning is not always easy, and it brings concerns. And the board, the local church council, we no longer call them the board, but I still view it as a board, wanted me to come and to share with them. And we had a great meeting last night and just shared openly and transparently. And it's obvious you have a great leadership team there also. And they wanted me to share just a little with you today about that. So just let me just say a few things. One, the conference will, during this time, be available to you as you need us as a church. If there's Sundays without a pastor, we'll fill that. We'll get someone to come. We'll take care of making sure that happens. You won't have to worry, what we'll do during this time. The other part is we have a manual that God has given us. I say God has given us. It's put in place by the leadership of the churches from all across the denomination as the Lord has directed as to how we operate and how we move forward. We will operate within the bounds of that. Your church council will be meeting with pastoral candidates and discussing. And then as they feel the time is appropriate, have different ones. It can be as many as one, or it could be more than that, to come and to speak and to share with the church. And then when the decision's made as to who the church feels is the candidate, the leadership of the church council listening to the congregation, they'll bring forth the name that they feel is the candidate to be voted on by the church. So you will be a part of that process. And when you've had a pastor 34 years and the thoughts of change sometimes it can be concerning. I know that. So I just share with them to make sure they kept you informed and that you feel like you're in the loop. And I think everything will move smoothly there. There's a couple things I need you to know. Number one, to be able to vote in the election, you've got to be 16 years old. You have to be a member of the church. You have to be faithful in your tithing and your attendance. Some may be here and say, well, I've attended this church a long time. I'm not a member, but I want to be a part of the voting process. Well, hopefully the church will give you time to take membership if you want to do that, so you can be a part of the process, and you won't feel left out in that. And I think that the most important thing is you move ahead in this process, is more than our own goals or ambitions or agendas, that we position ourselves to have a listening ear to what the Holy Spirit's saying in the days ahead. So that's what we're going to encourage you to do. Now, I'm going to take just a moment in case someone has a question about any of that before we move forward in the services. Does anyone have a question that maybe is unanswered that you'd like to ask? And I'll do my best to answer that, okay? Any question? Okay. I either left it so muddy that there's no way you can even come up with a question, or I did all right and you know where we're at, okay?
All right.
Okay, good. The second thing I want to do, our missions and evangelism director, Brother Larry Matters, called me on as I was on my way coming this way yesterday and said, Preston, would you do me a favor? And I said, sure. He said, I want you to honor the church for their commitment and involvement in missions. And they are one of, I think he said, 7 churches, but this has been the flagship church of missions in this conference. Let me make that clear. From the time I was mission director and probably before that, all the way through, y'all have been the leading church in missions in this conference. Now, there was a church that gave more than y'all this year, but I still view y'all as the leading church in missions. And I want to express my personal appreciation for that because some people never get a hold of how significant their role in the Great Commission is. And y'all have grasped that fully and have been incredible participants in God's plan. And so for that, I'm thankful. I instituted a 7-star program when I was mission director, and Brother Larry has followed through with that program. Y'all have finished 1 plaque and now are beginning on a 2nd plaque. I guess I ought to take it out of the wrapper and let you get a look at it. It's right pretty. And it's got the first year that y'all just completed, 2016. So Pastor, if you'll come, I want to give you this where you can have that put up on the wall. Again, successive years, and I don't know the year that began. I guess it was like 12 or 13 years ago that we began this program that y'all have completed. Can you give yourself a hand for that? The Lord is good.
Amen.
And as I shared with your board last night, they made it clear that in a pastoral selection, one of the things that's going to be important is that that pastor must have a heart for missions and understand this church's role in missions. So, and I'm thankful for that. And I told him, I said, I'm sure that'll be so that God will give you another gift who has a heart towards missions. So it's good to be with you. We always enjoy the drive up here. I know it's a little bit long. We left yesterday, about a 300-mile drive. Seems like I messed up every way I could. I got to running late. I had to drop stuff by the parsonage because we're moving. I took a load of clothes out of the car to put in the parsonage because we're going back there tonight. And when I did, I left my white shirt. I brought my tie, but I didn't have